Hi, and welcome back to another AnyRPG Development Livestream. In these videos, I livestream the development of the AnyRPG Engine, a free and open source role-playing game engine designed in Unity and written in C#. If you don't already have a copy of AnyRPG, you can pick one up from anyrpg.org/downloads in both Unity package and source code format. You can also find free copies of the games that I work on at the same page. In this episode, we'll be doing a quick change, and that is an enhancement to our caster AI to not make casters run around and follow us when they're in combat with us. So, before we start, just a quick note on the issues I was having in the last episode. As I thought it was an ordering issue, so if you saw the last episode, after the ability to make guys spawn dead, like the skeleton, guys that spawned alive always had 0 health on their health bar. So that was just an ordering issue right here. So in the AI character class, all I had to do was take this and move it down. It used to be run before Orchestrator start. So what that means is when Orchestrator start runs, the character's health will get set, and then when we run the character units Orchestrator startup, the nameplate will get created and the character will already have his health, and then there's no more issues with empty health bars. So moving on to the barbarian mages issue here, let me just demonstrate what the current issue is and why we need to write some code to make some enhancements and fix it. I'm going to spawn a barbarian mage, specifically, actually the barbarian shaman. And what you'll see is that he only has ranged abilities. He doesn't actually have any physical abilities. So the lightning storm that he does is a ranged one, and that basically that slam thing is also a ranged one. But the problem is that he keeps on running around after your character. So what I want is basically for him to stand around and not try to slam people with that. And in fact, no caster should ever run up to you if they don't have an ability that actually allows them to get within melee range. So to do that, let's go look at the it's combat node. We'll look at our states and just see what's happening basically in our combat. So we enter basically follow state, and follow state is what tells us that we need to actually run towards a character. So let's go to the definition of that. And basically what happens is in follow state, if we can get a valid attack, then we just return. If they're in our hitbox, we change our state to attack state. Same thing with the can get valid attack. Otherwise, we just tell them to follow the target. So this seems like actually exactly the kind of place we would want to change that logic. So let's do that. What we'll do is we have a couple of different functions here, like this can get valid attack. What we want to do is, let's go to the definition of that, and we'll basically check if, well, we need a new bool pretty much that says if has melee attack, pretty much. So let's see here. What we're doing is we're checking for the combat strategy. I think I'll just copy this entire block of code here and do has melee fact, this is actually probably even better done inside the character. No, you know what? We do actually want to do it this way. Yeah, okay. So what we want to do basically is if they have a combat strategy, we'll check if there's a melee ability in their combat strategy. Otherwise, we'll just check if they know a melee ability. So different logic for each of those cases. So then we have my combat strategy.getValid ability. Let's go to the definition of that. I think we're basically just going to make a copy of this function right here and remove almost everything from it. So let's try get melee ability. We don't need to worry about the maintain buffs list. And let's see if we can cast the ability and if we can use the ability on, and we need one more if statement. We want and base ability dot my use melee range is true. That means this is a melee ability. And this returns a single ability. In fact, we don't even really have to bother adding anything because all we care about is do they have a melee ability at all. So in fact, all we have to do here is just return base ability, and that's it. Which means we don't need this block of code. And at the very bottom, we can return null if there's no melee ability. Perfect. So now what we can do is rename this to melee ability. We will be getting melee ability. We'll just be returning true if melee ability is not null. Then what we can do is if AI controller.has melee attack, we don't have to worry about this bool here because we're not going to automatically begin it. So if our AI controller has a melee attack, then we're allowed to go and follow them. Otherwise, there's no reason to get close to them. If we're a caster, we don't want to get in melee range of a character. So then the next thing we want to do is basically copy this ability and do the exact, or this function, do the exact same thing that we did with the other one. So I think actually, yeah, I mean the logic is almost the same, so I could add a parameter that like checks whether this has to be a melee ability or something like that. But honestly, I'm just going to make a separate function for it right now. So we're just going to do the same thing. We're just going to return base ability, meaning we don't need to do that. And then of course we're going to add a condition at the end, and base ability dot my use melee range equals true. So then we want to go to the definition of has melee attack, and right, this is supposed to be get valid melee ability. And in fact, we do need it to be a my cast on enemy, but we don't need it to be can use on and can cast, because essentially these will prevent us from running around and following the character if we don't have enough mana. So realistically, the only thing we care about is this an ability that can be cast on an enemy, and is it using melee range? So we don't even care about get valid melee ability. This will just be get melee ability, and we actually don't need a return list because we're just going to be returning a single value. Okay, I think actually we probably need to do the same thing in combat strategy. So basically we want to remove the can use on. Pretty much want to remove the can cast, and let's add the same check in. This has to be an ability that can be casted on an enemy. And of course we also don't need a list to return. For the return list, we do need the list of combat strategy nodes because we need to figure out what node we're on. Okay, that looks good. So we'll do Control Shift S to save everything, and now call this get melee ability. And we don't care about returning it because this is just a bool. Okay, perfect. So now the has melee attack should work. So when our character goes into follow state, if he has a melee attack, then follow the target. Otherwise, basically just stand around and continue to go through the update loop. Yeah, let's try that out and see if our barbarian chases us around or stands there and casts spells. So we'll spawn a barbarian, grab one of these shamans here. There we go. He's not following us. He is continuing to cast, but he is not following us. This is perfect. This is exactly the behavior we want. Now casters will properly stand still. Awesome. That's all I wanted to do for this episode. I hope you enjoyed that. If you did, don't forget to thumbs up the video, subscribe to the Cohesion YouTube channel, or just leave a note in the comments. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I will see you next time.